Alright guys, so another video here. Just doing an update, an 8-month update on my 5-gallon tank. For the last 8 months, it has different iterations. It's been a shrimp grow out tank, or initially it was a plant grow out tank for my 40 breeder here. And then I eventually added immersed plants, as you can see here. Some failed, some are doing good right now, and then also it became a shrimp tank. Before I go ahead and explain my setup here, I just want to show you guys how it is, set up on a daily basis. So more of the light that you can see there is upright, because this tank is turned on for nearly 12 hours a day, and of course when the light is turned on that long, it will cause algae issues, and I don't want that. And basically I'm growing immersed plants, so they can't be on like 6 or 8 hours only. Since it's the summer, it's a grow period, I'd rather have them on like 12 hours, so it's set up this way. But I'll move it right now so that I can show you guys what's in the tank itself, which is not much. But before we go do this, I just want to show what the plants are above, so that you'll know what the roots are from. So I have the Monstera here, a Cryptocorn DTI, a small Amazon sword, a Philodendron micans, a larger Amazon sword, and a Pothos. Excuse me. So as you can see, the roots are doing really well. Yeah, regarding substrate first, sorry if I'm all over the place, I haven't really prepared, but this is a dirted tank. I use Miracle-Gro dirt and then capped off with pea pebbles from Home Depot. The Miracle-Gro was a big mistake, because they do have lots of additives and what they call this, fertilizers. That's why I waited for like 3 or nearly 4 months before I added the shrimp. Basically, I let the plants use all the nutrients and extra stuff. My son is behind me; he's on his jumper. So yeah, he'll be one of our. I'm just checking him. So he'll be making those sounds. Anyway, back on this tank, I just left the Rotala here. They grow bushy, so they have a way to give a good hiding spot for the shrimps. I just left one of the Deformis here, the Water Wisteria, there's still a Ludwigia. I have Hornwort here that I bought from eBay, which is great floating plant. The shrimps love it, although a bit messy, as you can see. A lot of than leaves, if you can call them. I think they're leaves. They're fine needle-like leaves here. Basically, if anyone has read, watched, or researched about the wall stud method, that's what I'm going for in here. Basically, the concept is you use dirt, you have a good top material like pea gravel, nothing too fine like sand, because that will prevent the water, air, and other nutrients to go through the underlying substrate. Basically, you also want to be able to provide a good environment for good bacteria to grow in. And so far in the last 8 months, I never had any problems. I didn't have any mass die-offs since I waited for like 3-4 months before I added the shrimp. And as you can see, I have a ton of shrimps now in this 5-gallon. And I can see the wall stud method working in this spot here. Sorry for the algae, I don't clean this much here, even the sides, more on the sides and the back, I don't clean them at all. But basically, the excess food, the organic dead materials from the plants, especially from the hornwort, they're very fine leaves. They go through here in the small spaces between the pebbles, and I'm not sure if it's something that you guys, let me just brighten this up there, so you can see this area here, lots of organic material. So those are poop, uh, plant materials, and then yeah, the excess food. They go through the pebbles here. They're broken down by the good bacteria, and then it's used by the plants. So eventually, the Miracle-Gro, and I believe Miracle-Gro only lasts for like 3-4 months before the plants have used all the nutrients up. And then basically in the Walsall method, the concept is the good bacteria will break down all those organic stuff and produce nutrients for the plants. And it's like it's a cycle, it's cyclical. So basically you will, if you keep your tank long term, the process will cycle through, and the plants should be able to survive and get the nutrients they need, especially now that the Monstera here, I mean, look at those huge roots, and the leaves are starting to grow. They're starting to adapt, because when I started this, some of the leaves died off, but they're starting to grow new ones, and it has reached the substrate level. Same thing with the Amazon sword here. It has really got its roots stuck in the substrate already. So they're feeding not only through the water line, but also through the substrate. And eventually that pothos that I added will eventually get to that point. But let me just check if I can zoom in. But those are roots already, though there's some roots already growing in. But knowing pothos, one of the easiest plants and my favorite plant because of its versatility, will eventually get to the substrate. Let me unzoom out here. And the philodendron micans, still newly added in this tank. And the roots here, let me just check if I can see. Yeah, so those are roots already growing in on the lava rock. So I'm looking forward for it to grow. Going back down here, basically I started with only 12 shrimps. I ordered 10 on eBay, 3 died, I had 7 left. Went to PetSmart, the shrimps were on sale from $5 down to $2. I bought 5. All in all, I had 12, and about 5 or 6 died. So more likely I just have like 9 breeding cherry shrimps. And as you can see, I definitely have more than 9 down here. And look at that. I feed them a variety of foods, but basically I have the let me grab it. The Icari here. I have these Icari wafers, which also I give to my loaches, and the Sinking Bug Bites Algae Crisp, and that's the one I just gave them, so that's why they're all busy down there. Let me see if I can zoom in, and yeah, look at that. I don't know, but I've always had success with shrimps, even when I was still in Indiana or even in the Philippines. I just have a couple, like a dozen, even less than a dozen, and they do well. And I think main secret here is my tank's not really that clean. I'll let them go through the algae, especially a good example is that one with a baby, and look at those old babies there just on the side. So this is a grow out tank. I don't really care about aesthetics. I just want to grow a lot of them. I've already moved a lot of them in my 40 breeder, and I still do water changes, maybe 1/4 every week. And I firmly believe the submersed or the immersed plants are doing their jobs. And looking really great. My son is now bored. All right. Oh, I'll get him in a bit. Moving up here. So let's talk about this. So I have like some success with some plants. I removed the other plants, they didn't do really well, and eventually settled with these plants here. This Monstera over here is more of a cutting, and I just added it here. But basically, Hygrophila deformis, the water wisteria, I think needs more moisture when it grows immersed. It needs more humidity. Same thing, I had a plant called the Hygrophila planifolia, I forgot, but that's the one, and it's not even doing well. Submersed. What else? I have the aluminum plant, which online, on YouTube, I've seen grown immersed in a tank, but it didn't do well in my end. So I settled with these plants here. Of Monstera is actually, I've added just like a month ago, and you can see it's growing really well. It's as versatile as a pothos. The Mycans I added here to add a bit of color in this tank. I'm sorry, my son. Alright, it's good now. So the Amazon sword, this guy here is small. I bought one small Amazon sword from my LFS and I separated all four, did several experiments. Others are in a pot with water, which is one of these. So that guy here, this guy here is as big as this before, and I decided to remove this smaller one from its immersed growth in a pot and move it here, because this guy is just doing really well. And as you can see, it has how do you call this, it has adapted and changed the form of its leaves into this rounder, more thicker leaves compared to a submerged Amazon sword. And I've seen a lot of YouTube videos, online pictures of the Amazon. They look really nice when grown immersed. As you can see here, they look sunburned. That's the color when they are exposed to too much light. But basically, it will have its leaves. Some of its leaves will die off, but it still keeps producing new leaves. Let's see if I can do a close-up. So yeah, it's producing more leaves, so it's really cool, and it's aggressively growing in terms of the root system down here. So I took this off from its pot, this smaller one, and just move it here. And I bought this trellis from it's a trellis, it's a set that you buy from Amazon, and then you set it up the way you want it, and that's just how I did it. And eventually the pothos, the Philodendron Mycans, and these Monstera will climb up, and then I might add more. And last, I think that I want to talk about, I won't talk about the Monstera anymore, because I mean, it's just like the pothos. Oh, and yeah, this is what I want to show. So I bought a Monstera, a $15 Monstera, which I separated to like which has like, eventually it grew to like 6 plants. I had 3 in a smaller pot and 3 in a bigger pot, which is outside in our backyard, and it's growing like crazy. This one is one of those cuttings. I put this in here, and they produce this huge aerial roots. But this one is really big, and it's now on its way to get into the water. So I guess one concern is it might break the tank. The roots might break the tank. I don't know. So we'll see. But I have here a Cryptococcus DTI. This guy just won't adapt like the Amazon sword. It will produce leaves. The leaves, I guess, don't have enough humidity. It dies, but it still keeps on producing leaves that it won't literally die. The only reason it's still up here is because it produced runners. So Crypts produce runners, and it has actually 2 down here. Let me see if I can. Yeah, so this is one here, and I'm moving it, and then there is another in there. So yeah, it has runners. Actually, the 3rd runner is down here, which I actually just planted in the tank. But yeah, that's the main reason I'm not taking this off, because it has runners, and eventually those runners will produce more runners. So I guess this is one good way to just keep producing this plant. But that's why I'm not taking it out of there. But one thing I noticed, it has never really adapted immersed, unlike this Amazon sword, which just keeps producing larger leaves upon larger leaves, and I feel like it will just get big, just like what I see in YouTube or in online. Yeah, my son's getting bored, so I'll make this real quick. The Hydrocotyl tripartita, like it's from Japan or something. So yeah, I'm just letting it grow. So yeah, 8 month update. Got some success. I would have say it's a success. I did a lot of experiments in terms of the other immersed growth plants, and that didn't work, so I just took them off. But I love the way this plant looks because I just wanted to do a immersed growth tank. I don't want to do it on the Ford breeder because I have a different concept for that one. But yeah, so eventually, hopefully, and I think it will eventually, those vining plants will get up the trellis, and my goal is to get it to spread all over the wall. I'm just trying to find out a good way for me not to damage the wall, like put like non-stick hooks or something, but that's something that I'll worry about when these guys get to grow bigger. But overall, I'm very happy about this. I mean, I guess I've checked all the things that I want this tank to be able to do, which are the shrimps, to grow out plants for my bigger tank, and then to eventually successfully grow aquarium plants immersed, which in this case there's only two, but to have those vines, I feel like they will look really good overall in this, like in my whole, I call this my hobby room or my man cave or something. I don't know. Yeah, but yeah, I have grand plans for this small corner of our house in the second floor. Vivariums, a few vivariums, a few more tanks, I guess. I don't want to crash our second floor because it got too heavy. So yeah, basically that's it, guys. I appreciate the patience and subscribing, the subscriptions, the likes. It does help. I know it's not a perfect video wherein it's all silent. I have my kids around me all the time, and appreciate it. So yeah, please hit like and subscribe, and have a good one.